Logan coming at you with another video. I want to touch on something really quickly that I think is important and something that I feel that's going to be of value to a lot of people. If you're like me, you're probably into photography or you're doing video or you're doing a combination of those things or you're trying to get into it. And one of the things you're probably wondering to yourself is what kind of computer do you need in order to do video editing or photography post production. A lot of people seem to be under the impression, or they tend to say, okay, you need to get a MacBook Pro, or you need to get like a Dell, or you need to get an Alienware, or you need to get like a gaming computer. Let me just share something with you that I don't think a lot of people understand. The only difference between a MacBook and a regular PC laptop, aside from the applications that might be in the machine and the way the shell is designed to accommodate the hard parts, there's no difference. Both machines have the same hard parts inside them. If you ever turn one of these machines up, you would see that the hard parts are similar. They both use the same kind of CPUs. They both use the same kind of, random access memory. All right. The motherboards are different just to accommodate, the space within the shell itself. But there's no real difference. All right. And when we're talking about a gaming computer, we're only really talking about the graphics card. That's it. The only thing that distinguishes a gaming computer, a so-called gaming computer, from a regular computer is the graphics card. And pretty much every computer has some sort of graphics on there. Either it's integrated or it's not. When you see somebody's computer and it has one of those big bricks inside there, that is not integrated. That is a aftermarket graphics card. And the only function of a graphics card is really to help render and give you high resolution on the screen that you're looking at it on. That's it. That is its only function. All right. It doesn't help with video editing. It doesn't help with post-production other than the fact that you can see what the image looks like on your screen. That is the only function. So when somebody says go with a gaming machine, I can tell you from my own personal experience that this is the wrong answer. You buy yourself a gaming machine, you are basically buying a housing for a graphics card. That's it. If you go and shop online and you look at graphics card is a major industry. You can see graphics cards on sale for like $5, $6, $7,000. That's how big a deal it is. And there are people that will spend the money on those graphics cards. So if you're buying a computer and it has a graphics card on it, you're pretty much paying for that. Now, it's not to say that the CPU isn't expensive, because there's a lot of expensive CPUs. But like anything else, the value of the CPU drops over time because there are always new CPUs coming out. They're supposed to be much more powerful or much more efficient and all that other stuff. When you're looking at a machine to help you do video editing or, photography post-production work, you are looking for a machine that has a robust CPU and a lot of random access memory, or RAM. Okay, those are your primary things. The graphics card comes afterwards. It is not part of your necessity. I mean, obviously you need a graphics card so you can see images on a screen. But beyond that, though, it doesn't really play any part in the editing process or post-production process. So I felt it was important to bring this up because a lot of people throw out bad information. People will talk about how MacBook Pros are built for creatives, Alienware, or higher end Dell computers, and that's just simply not the case. It's not. It is a hype machine. All right. They build these machines with an aesthetic. They have some weight to them. They make you feel like you're special. But the truth of the matter is, when you open these machines up, aside from the fancy shell that these machines came in, the hard parts are pretty much the same between MacBooks and PCs. The only difference, aside from the shell itself, is the kind of apps that you're using, right? So if you're a person that likes using the MacBook apps or Macintosh apps, then obviously you're going to go that operating system. If you're a person that likes PC apps, then obviously you're going to go that operating system. So that, of course, factors into your decision making as to which machines you're going to go for. But beyond that, though, when somebody says gaming machine, they're only talking about a graphics card. And the graphics card doesn't have nearly as much weight in terms of your decision making as should a strong CPU and RAM. Okay, that's it. That's pretty much the end of it. Now, one thing I'm going to recommend, because I know somebody out there is going to have the same question like I got, earlier yesterday, and that question was, well, what laptop should I go for? I don't look at laptops per se. I look at specifications. I look at things that are going to help me do the work I need to do if I'm looking for a laptop or if I'm looking for a PC or something like that. So my recommendation to you guys is this. Pick out the software that you're interested in working with. And if you're not sure which software you want to work with, you can always download, some of the software for like 10, 30 days, play around with it, see if you like it. When you go onto their website, go to the specifications page. The specifications page will tell you what the minimum requirements for running this software and the recommended requirements. I will always tell people, when you're looking at those specifications, always look at the recommended requirements. Don't even look at the minimum, because you will run out. The minimum is the bare amount that you need to run the software, but it's not going to be enough. Trust me when I say that. I've learned this the hard way. Always go for the recommended specs. And if you can afford to spend a little bit more, spend a little bit more based on what the recommended specs are, so that you can future-proof your machine for many years to come. I built 2 machines in 2014. I built one for my dad and I built one for myself. And I built them with the idea that you're going to want to have a machine that's going to at least last you 5 years at a bare minimum. So far on my machine, I've replaced my graphics card like 3 or 4 times because I'm also a gamer. And I replaced my CPU and I've upgraded my RAM on my machine just because the software that I was running required a little bit more of a robust CPU. And so that is it. This machine is good for at least the next 3 or 4 years. And then when it starts to slow down, it just becomes a backup drive for my new machine, which I'm going to build. All right. So once again, guys, don't fall for the hype. When somebody says buy a gaming computer because it's going to be good for your graphics editing, that is incorrect information. You buy based on the specifications of the software, and then you search for a machine that supplies those same kind of specifications. Don't go just running willy-nilly to buy a gaming machine, because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of machines out there that are really expensive. They have really high-end graphics cards, but when you look at the other hard parts of the machine, they're no different than something that you would have spent significantly less for. When you're talking about gaming machines, you're really talking about the graphics card. That's it. All right? That's what costs money on the machine more than anything else. And if you got a high-end graphics card, or if you got one of those kind of things that runs hot, then you're going to have to expend more money on a cooling system. All right? And those are luxuries that you don't necessarily need if all you want to do is just do editing. I don't know what else to tell you guys, but I hope you got something out of it. And of course, there are going to be people that are going to push back on what I'm saying, but truth is truth. If you don't believe me, go ahead and spend your money on a MacBook Pro because you think it's built for creatives. And when you discover that some regular muckety-muck has a laptop next to yours, which has pretty much the same internal specifications as your MacBook, but spent almost $1,000 less, I don't know how you're going to feel about that, but I know if it were me, I'd be like, well, I'm not buying another MacBook. And it's not just MacBook. Alienware is madly expensive too, for what it is. Acer and a couple of other companies that build gaming machines, mad expensive. And like I said, the strength of their pricing is based on what kind of graphics card they have. And don't get me wrong, graphics cards are beautiful. All right. I don't even have a top of the line graphics card on my machine, and it renders images wonderfully on my machine. All right. I have a 27-inch screen, but my 27-inch screen only shows 60 frames per second. So if I wanted to do some really, really hardcore gaming, I would definitely have to get me a screen that offers like something with a faster frame rate. All right. So faster frame rates just usually just means that the movement on the screen is going to just be a lot smoother. All right. So can I justify it? Not really, because the primary reason for me getting the screen that I have is for my editing work, and I don't need anything that does more than 60 frames per second. So even if I got me a stupidly ridiculous high-end graphics card, I still could not have exploited its capabilities because the monitor I have is not built for that particular application. So there's a lot that goes into the thought process. So once again, like I said before, if you want something that's going to help you do video editing, look at the software, figure out what the specs are, always go for the recommended specs, plug those recommended specs into a computer finder, because there's a lot on the market that have different options. Plug in those specifications, and then you will know what kind of computer you want to buy or laptop you want to buy. And that's it. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you got some value out of this. And until next time, take care. Have a wonderful day. And come check me later.